Roxy, thanks a lot for doing this. I really appreciate it. Do you go by Roxy Modafferi still? Is that the correct way to say your last name?
That is the correct way to say my last name, Modafferi. And I use Modafferi when I'm in the fight world. So if a fan talks to me or, when I plan to maybe do another Jiu-Jitsu match, I'll probably come out as Modafferi. But in my other life, I'm Roman.
How's the transition from being a mixed martial artist to a mother been for you?
It's been hard. The transition from being a fighter to a mother has been hard, namely because I had to stop everything that I do to take care of an infant. No training, no yoga, no anything. So I remember for my first several months of my son's infanthood, my back was hurting, my shoulders were hurting, my neck was hurting because I'm looking at him like this. He's adorable. My husband says, they have to be cute, otherwise we eat them. I don't know. I never desired that, but anyway. It's been hard, but now he's almost a year and a half and he's so cute. Everything he does is cute and angelic. So now I get it.
Do you find that some of the stuff you learned in martial arts and being in the UFC has prepared you for motherhood?
No, I don't think so at all.
What is, well, let's just start a little further back. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Pennsylvania, and then went to high school and college in Massachusetts. So both of those states.
And were you athletic as a child, or what were you like as a child?
I was athletic. I did all the sports. My favorite was soccer. And then I did Taekwondo when I was 13. I wanted to start getting into the martial arts because I wanted to be a Power Ranger. So did Taekwondo, then I did Kempo karate, then I did Judo. And that's when I found my love. I really loved Judo. Then I got a back injury doing Judo, so I couldn't take the hard falls that are necessary in that martial art. So my Judo friends introduced me to Jiu-Jitsu, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the next big thing, Royce Gracie, oh my gosh, I watched the VHS tapes of the UFC. So I started doing Jiu-Jitsu with my Judo buddies, and that's how I got kind of into that.
A lot of people don't realize that mixed martial arts, even the UFC, was such a like an underground thing that you had to find like VHS copies of the fights, or they would be on like some weird after hours special or something. Did you realize when you were doing judo and then switched to jiu-jitsu that you might have a career in this, or what point did you think, well, maybe I could do this as something?
Not at all. So I went through some phase where I decided that violence was bad and I needed to be non-violent. So that's why I went from like striking arts to judo, which is throwing and grappling. There was no striking. So when my jiu-jitsu buddies then said, hey, let's practice the strikes and the takedowns, I was like, that's too violent. I can't possibly do that. But I started doing it. And then through that, I got interested in watching the UFC, and I did a lot of NAGA tournaments, North American Grappling Association. And then there was one girl who I always fought against, Laura de August, and she had her MMA debut. And I watched her fight and I thought, I fight her all the time in grappling. I can totally do this. I do this MMA thing. And I wanted the ultimate challenge. That's part of my personality. Like if there's some challenge, I want to tackle it to become a stronger person. So that's why I started MMA, because I wanted to make sure that I got the ultimate challenge possible for me so I could become the strongest person I could be.
What was your first MMA gym? Did you, like you said, you and your training partners were implementing strikes into the jiu-jitsu, you said. Did you go to was there an MMA gym in your area that you went to, or did you keep doing what you were doing with your partners?
So I started doing jiu-jitsu my senior year of high school. And then when I moved away to college, that's when I found my first MMA gym, New England Submission Fighting. I get the two confused. And they had kickboxing classes and then the grappling classes. But I don't think there were really MMA classes. I feel like that actually didn't come about until later. people still just trained kickboxing, trained jiu-jitsu, and then fought. People didn't really train MMA back then in the wee years of 2005.
Yeah.
Right. So I did that. I did, I remember actually in my like senior year of college, it was so cool that we did the Shark Tank where one guy had gloves and everyone had to take him down. So they stood in a line and there was one guy like at one end of the room. So guy at the front of the line would run, try to take him down. Whether he failed or not, he went to the end of the line and the next guy came and tried to take him down. And he had the guy trying to be taken down had gloves on. And that was like, oh, he has gloves on. Wow. That was our big MMA drill. So that was funny. Thinking about it now.
Yeah, because now, like we're in Vegas, you probably could throw a rock and hit an MMA gym of some sort on every part of town. And back then, it was just like this. The martial arts were very compartmentalized, would you say? Like
Yes,
if
that's
you
a
do
good word.
jiu-jitsu, you can't do striking. And if you do striking, you can't do judo. Were you seen as like an outcast because you were wanting to do all this stuff, or were you accepted?
Well, it wasn't like you can't do it. It's just that the classes were separate.
Yeah.
No, I was very accepted. It must have been the good places I went to because even though I was a woman and there weren't many women in the classes, everybody just treated me like one of the dudes because I worked hard and I didn't care about, going easy. I always wanted to go hard. I didn't care about my hair or my nails or anything. I wasn't like, oh, don't touch me. I didn't wear like a little sports bra or something cute. I just wore like lots of clothes because I didn't want men to get any ideas. I just wanted to be one of the guys. And they treated me as one of the guys. They went hard. So I never experienced any discrimination. Men controlled their power pretty well. Hearing other women's stories, I'm very grateful that all my training partners were good training partners.
At that time, was there a women's division in the UFC yet, or?
No, there was not. My dream after I fought and experienced that, my dream was to be the first woman in the UFC. So I was so sad when I think Ronda and was it not Liz Carmouche? Was it Liz Carmouche? Oh my gosh. Oh, I forgot. Please don't put this on there. I'm going to back up. So it was my dream to be the first woman in the UFC. So I was really bummed out when I was not, although I was very happy to see something starting in the UFC. And I hoped one day, to be in the UFC. I kind of changed my goal from the first woman to just getting in the UFC. But I think I was in Japan. I remember watching it in Sunday morning because Saturday night here is Sunday morning there. It was, I forget, 2009 or 10 or something like that. I don't remember.
So how did you graduated college? You're doing this new thing where you're striking with jiu-jitsu and vice versa. How did you leave college and get to Japan then?
I majored in Japanese language and literature. I really wanted to be a translator, but it's really hard to get your skill up to par to that level with just 4 years of college. So I moved to Japan to immerse myself in the country, in the language, really, and get better. So I got a job teaching English. But since I was teaching English all day, I was speaking English all day, I wasn't really getting better at I was getting better at Japanese, but not enough to make a career out of the translation gig. So I kind of just enjoyed my life in Japan and trained as much as I could, and I fought. So my life was teaching English and training and fighting.
Was there MMA for women in Japan also?
Yes, there was.
Oh, wow.
Actually, I think there was MMA in Japan before the States, and the biggest promotion was called Smackgirl. You're laughing, right? So, when I went to the MMA gym, I asked about fighting, and they're like, oh yeah, there's Smackgaru ga aru yo. Like, Smackgaru? What's that? And they wrote it out. I was like, oh, Smackgirl, all right. That's funny. Yeah, you can fight. I said, okay, cool. So in my junior year of college is actually when I found out about Smackgirl. And They were like, cool, a foreigner, let's feed her to some Japanese girl. So they got me a fight like immediately. I was not ready at all. I told my coach, I want to fight someday. He said, okay. And then like next week, he was like, hey, you want to fight like in a month? I'm like, can I? Yeah, sure. Okay. My striking was like this. So I took her down and armbarred her. I got hit a couple times. Anyway, so there was Smackgirl, and then the rules were different. The gloves were puffy gloves, so us ladies wouldn't get hurt. There was a 30-second ground rule. So if someone got taken down, we could only fight for 30 seconds, regardless of any scrambles, So I would have to hurry up and submit them within 30 seconds or they would stand us up, even if I was like choking her.
Wow.
I think the rounds were shorter. Someone told me that they were 3 minutes. I don't remember, honestly. I fought in Smackgirl, and there were a few other promotions like, oh my gosh, what was it called? Cross Section. That one lasted not that long. And then I think those went under, and then there was one affiliated with Shuto, G-Shuto, like girl Shuto. I think G-Shuto was like the first one where the rules were the same as the men's. That was later. But generally, women were seen as not equal. Like the fights weren't equal. They called our fight clothes the costume. Girls tended to wear like glittery, like skirty, outfits. So.
Did you like that though? Because you're a fan of anime, right?
That was not at all like cosplay. It was like
it was more like
you're pretty. This is like pro wrestling. Well, pro wrestling was huge over there, so this is entertainment.
Oh, I see.
So it's like, all right, well, if I have to fight, I didn't wear any of that. I just wore like my first outfit was soccer shorts, and I borrowed a rash guard from a training partner because I didn't have any rash guards. But yeah, it was kind of nah. I wasn't a huge fan of that style, but I took what I can get because I was living in Japan at the time. Did
you fight before that in America?
My first 3 fights were in Japan.
Okay, so so you're out of America, you're in Japan, you got 3 fights there.
It was probably for the best because I got used to it. I got used to, I got hit, but the gloves were soft. I didn't get beat bloody or anything.
How were the Japanese opponents versus what you were seeing in America? Were they at the same level of skill, or was Japan women more advanced than the women in America, would you say, at that time?
Megumi Fuji was on a whole different level, so we'll just put her on a pedestal aside. But in general, and a few others, of course. But in general, I think the level was very similar. It was a little bit below men's level, I think. Men's fighting, striking-wise, jiu-jitsu-wise, just all around. So I think in the States or Japan, it would have been the same for the women.
So you're in Japan. Are you doing college also, you said?
For my junior year abroad is when I first fought, and I had college. Then I graduated, and then I moved back to Japan to work.
Oh, so all right. So you're in Japan, you're working, and then you're having these MMA fights. How do you get back to America and Las Vegas from there?
Mm-hmm. So one day I was sitting on my computer and reading Twitter, and someone said, @Mark, Roxy Fighter, are you going to the Ultimate Fighter tryouts? And I was like, what? That's only for men. What are you talking about? So I did some research, and season 18 was the first season that they had women. So I was like, so I applied. And I didn't apply. I found out the tryouts were open. So I asked my boss for a week off, and he granted it. And I flew back to Vegas, got chosen. Actually, I didn't know if I would get chosen at first. But then I got chosen. I was granted the time off and did the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. So that's how I first went to Vegas. I lost in the season, did not get signed, but I didn't know if I would still get a chance to be signed to the UFC, because sometimes even if you lose on the show, they let you fight and be signed. But I'm kind of skipping around. Let me know if I need to go back. So I did the 6 weeks in the fighter house, and then I didn't progress in the tournament. I lost. And then I came out, and the UFC said, well, we might give you a fight on the finale anyway on the undercard, or we might not. I was like, oh, crap. Like, if I fight and win, they're going to sign me. If I fight and lose, they're not going to sign me. Should I quit my job in Japan? Like, what am I going to do in America? You know, I have a Japanese degree. I can't really do much, honestly. And then I realized that my dad was right about, you know, the different college degrees and feasibility about what you can do with the job. And I was like, oh man, I have all this teaching experience. I figured I could be a teacher, but that's not where I wanted to go really. So I had like a big decision to make. But thankfully, I'm very thrifty. So I had, what should I have? Like, I think I had $20,000 in my savings account. So I thought, all right, I will take a chance, quit my job in Japan. They love me. They'd probably rehire me if necessary. Move back to the States, live off my savings account, and then we'll see if they give me a fight. So I came to Vegas. I joined Syndicate MMA and asked Coach John Wood, will you take me under your wing and help me? I might have a fight, I might not. I trained really hard for 3 months. They gave me a fight. I lost. Oh, I didn't get signed. Awful, right? But I got signed by Invicta, which is such an awesome organization. They gave me a lot of fights. They were very good to me. I love that organization, very well run. Thank you, Shannon Knapp, for all you've done. You know, decent money for, you know, the promotion. I wouldn't be able to survive off of it. So I managed to stretch my savings account for a really long time. I worked at Syndicate teaching kids. That was helpful. And yeah, 2013 was season 18. And then 2018 was Ultimate Fighter season 26. So I think I'm going ahead on your question, but I came to Vegas, you know, for season 18, and then they opened the female division for 125 pounds for season 26 of The Ultimate Fighter. I applied again. I got in again because they liked me because I was a weirdo.
Yeah.
And I won. I started winning my fights because I had improved at Syndicate MMA thanks to my hard work and John Wood. So I started winning the fights. I won 2. Did I win 3? Let's see. Jaina, Emily, then I lost to Sarge. So I won 2 out of the 3. And then I was like, for sure they're going to give me a fight on the finale. They offered me a fight on the finale. I was supposed to fight Barb Honchak. And then Sajara missed weight. She was supposed to fight for the title. The matchmaker called me at 2 a.m, said, hey, would you like to fight for the title? I said, of course I would. So I fought for the title. It was fight of the night. I lost. Grr. But they signed me. This time they finally signed me. So that's when my career started. I guess you can consider things before a career, but in reality, you get paid and you survive off a career. So it was more like a hobby, what I was doing on the side, because I wasn't able to make money enough to survive. So I think, you know, it's really hard for fighters these days because you have to train, you're not getting paid. Then you have to fight amateur, you're still not getting paid, but you have to do it full time because it's so competitive nowadays. And then if you make it into the big leagues like PFL or the UFC, maybe just those two, you can really make a living, but there's all this work that has to be done beforehand.
A lot of people don't realize that there's no time for anything if you're gonna do any type of martial arts fight, right? You got to do all the training, which leaves a little time for a job or a relationship, and then you might not win and you might not make any money, and then it's back again. What advice would you give to a young girl or a woman that wants to be a martial artist?
Wants to be a professional martial artist?
Yeah.
Advice I would give is you have to have a backup plan, but you have to go 100% towards your goal. So you have to have a lot of energy, and you have to understand what you need to do, what it takes, you know. I am glad that I came up the way I did, because I was able to train full-time and work full-time. I don't think that's feasible anymore if you really want to make it into the UFC. So you have to have a good support system, and you have to be passionate. You just have to love it, you know. You just have to grind, and you have to not mind. You don't have to love the grind. I don't really like that phrase, love the grind. But you have to get through it. So I guess my advice would be have a good support system, have a backup plan, meaning, you know, maybe go to college or, you know, some trade school. Like, okay, if things aren't going the way I want, I'm going to go to trade school and become an electrician or a massage therapist or something, you know, because it's nice to have a dream, but dreams don't pay the bills.
You've had some crazy walkouts. I always thought you were kind of like the female, and no offense, because I love Tom Lawler, but you were like the female Tom Lawler. You would come out in your anime and what was it, Dragon Ball Z? I'm not real well versed in the anime stuff, but I do remember the costumes. What was it like to go, I'm going to go out not only in front of an opponent that I might lose to and all the pressure of that, but then you got a costume that adds, I'm assuming, more pressure. How did all that come together, and what was the inspiration? Obviously, the characters, but what was the inspiration to do something like that?
So I loved the walkouts. I was inspired by the Japanese guys, because, you know, all the Japanese guys walked out with their anime costumes and flames and Genki Sudo and Mayhem and all the flames and costumes. I couldn't do that on the day of the fight. You're 100% correct. I was too nervous. I would be too nervous. I didn't even try. I did the weigh-ins. So I made sure that I wore the wig at the weigh-ins. I did the clothes for weigh-ins, because the day of the fight, forget it. I wouldn't be able to focus. So, yeah. But I had, you know, my favorite songs of the time that I walked out to, and that was nice. But yeah, all the shenanigans were the day before. And that really helped me with weigh-ins, actually. Like, I started really looking forward to the weigh-ins. And who looks forward to weigh-ins?
Yeah. Because you look forward to it because you get to pick out your costume, and it takes your mind off the whole weight cut and everything. Yeah. And
then I forced John Wood, my corner man, to wear the costumes too.
I do remember,
when I was Invicta.
I do remember John wearing that. Is Invicta, do you know if Invicta's still around?
Yes. I think they're not doing as frequent shows, and I know they've changed their platform. I'm not sure if they've done a show on their new platform yet.
And Invicta was only females, is that correct?
Yes.
So can you give a little backstory on the Invicta years for people that might not know about Invicta?
Yeah, I think my first fight was Invicta 9, and I don't know how many dozens there have been since then, but it's an awesome organization. Shannon Knapp runs it. She flies in women from all over the world. So it's been really cool to see that. Iceland, I think one girl was from Iceland, that general area. But anyway, I enjoyed fighting for them very much, a couple times a year. Tended to be in Kansas City, Missouri. There was one in Vegas. Yeah.
So after I
fought really good opponents in Invicta too.
Yeah. A lot of females from that organization did at that time go to the UFC, is that correct? So some of the women that you might have been almost paired up with were at your division, right?
I fought Andrea Lee first in Invicta, and then I fought her again in the UFC. Same thing with Jennifer Maia. I fought Jennifer Maia in Invicta and then again in the UFC.
So you did 2 years, you did 2 seasons of The Ultimate Fighter, and then you fought for the title, and then you got signed. What was it like when you first thought, oh my gosh, I'm in the UFC? Did you feel like you had finally accomplished somewhat of your goals and your dreams?
Yes.
Or had you felt that before?
No, I felt, well, when I first won the elimination fight in season 18, that was maybe the happiest moment of my life, because that broke a 6-fight losing streak and it let me be in the Ultimate Fighter, which was my dream, to be in the affiliated with the UFC. So that was probably the happiest moment of my life. But then when I actually got signed, that was just so cool. I thought, wow, I can make a living. This is my dream.
At that time, were you able to get sponsors, or had the UFC gone with, I think it was Venom, and they just took all that away? Were you able to capitalize on that at that time?
It was the opposite. So I was able to get sponsors when I was in Invicta, but then with the UFC, we couldn't use any of those sponsors that we got ourselves. However, the UFC did give us Reebok sponsorship at first.
That's right.
And for me, I think it was like $2,500 for, my level entry level, which that's probably how much I would have gotten in Invicta anyway. Mm-hmm. But the UFC is a bigger platform, so it is pretty low. And I know a lot of higher level fighters were very upset because they lost a lot of money. So I don't know. It was kind of less stress for me to not have to go out and try to find sponsors. But yeah, I wasn't surviving on sponsors, that's for sure. But some other fighters could have.
When you get signed to the UFC, is it just another day? I mean, you obviously feel accomplishment, but does your grind change? Does the way people treat you, or is it just like, all right, let's just keep going forward?
Everything was the same, except people recognized me on the streets.
Oh,
and that was so cool. Having someone like Roxanne Modafferi or just Roxanne the Happy Warrior, like people started pronouncing my name correctly, which is super nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool to be recognized. I really felt like, oh, I've made it. Someone recognizes me. Oh, they want to take my picture. Oh my gosh. It was awesome. Because I've been working so hard for years and years and years, and nobody knows about it. Just grinding and working hard and sweating and crying and all that. And then finally someone in the grocery store says, oh, I saw your fight. That was awesome. It's like, oh, cool. Thank you.
So you finally got noticed for your accomplishments.
Yes.
And you had felt like you're just grinding and doing all this work and not getting the results that you were hoping for then.
Mm-hmm.
I can create distance, but you're on top and nothing's going to happen. Moment I'm right here. Now when I swing to get that underhook,
Get space.
I have the space.
Is there a fight that sticks out the most to you in your UFC career?
Yes, it was my title fight against Nico Montano. It was fight of the night. We just hit each other. It went back and forth. I thought maybe I was winning, but I think she took me down a couple times and I lost an armbar opportunity. And yeah, she ended up winning the decision.
And is that what sticks out the most? Is that you lost the armbar opportunity, or what about the fight exactly?
Just that it was very exciting. It was 5 rounds of Rock'em Sock'em robots.
Yeah.
And of course I feel that twinge of regret that her arm slipped out of my grasp. Like that was my chance to win everything.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do it. But it was still an amazing fight and I gave everything I had. And then after I went home, my body went into shock. I started shaking and I got a fever and my body just gave everything it had for that. So I was proud of myself.
What was it like seeing yourself on TV? Because I'm going to assume that you watched the fight. What was it like seeing yourself, hearing the announcers, the whole the whole audience and everything, and seeing it on TV? What was that like?
I'm really proud of myself. I want to give myself credit. I worked really, really hard, and just seeing myself in the UFC, in the octagon, it's so cool. I really worked so hard. I just think of all those days when I was in the gym and my back hurt so much. My neck hurt so much. I had to quit my sparring just because I was in such pain and nobody cared. Nobody cared about that except my friends and my parents, of course. But that was just the way it was. But seeing myself in there, like living my dream, was just so cool, and I'm really proud of myself.
Well, I'm proud of you too. What you accomplished is like, it's such a small percentage, because you are in the top, let's say 3% of the population that could do that.
So anytime I'm like, oh, my child is screaming at me, or oh, I suck at whatever, I just try to tell myself, like, hey, you made it into the UFC, you're fine, you're an amazing woman, don't worry about it. You've done more than a lot of people have done. So I try to use that to like encourage myself in my life.
I think a lot of people would be shocked to hear you say that, because, you know, let's just hypothetically, let's go to any bar while the UFC's on, and oh, I could do that. I would kick that guy's ass or that woman's ass. She wouldn't do that to me. And people have this idea that what they're watching is easy, and it's something everybody could do. I could do that if I just had a couple of weeks, but it is amazing what people, including yourself, do on that level. And a lot of people don't understand what it takes. And then there are some people that realize that, hey, I could never do that. So you are in that top percentage. And for you to open up and say what you just did might shock people, because they think that you have this mental toughness, which you do. But like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that they might be shocked that you have like the doubt, you know what I mean? Or the vulnerability, I guess is a better word for that. Is that something you struggle with quite a bit, or is it every once in a while that just things get overwhelming and you go, oh my gosh?
No, I don't really doubt myself. Just, you know, being a mother is hard. So it's been more like that sort of thing where I'm in over my head or I'm frustrated with something. But yeah, I believe in myself. I have good self-esteem overall. A lot of that is due to martial arts and the fact I proved it.
Yeah.
I proved it. I'm strong mentally and not really physically, but mentally, emotionally, I'm strong. I got through this. I got into the UFC. So, yeah, I remind myself of that.
When you were leading up to a fight, did you have a mental checklist? Did you do any type of meditation or like walk through the walkout, the cage closes? Did you visualize the whole thing, or were you just like, all right, I got this, I'm just gonna do it?
I like to visualize the fight. I like to visualize me fighting the person and different scenarios that could happen with me being ahead or me being behind and then coming ahead. I just try to just visualize things like that just before a fight.
When you're in the cage and the crowd screaming, can you hear the coach? Are you tuned in to, like, let's just pick out, I think Mike Pyle coach for you, or John Wood. Are you tuned to that voice, or does it get lost?
I can always hear John, almost always. Often I can hear the assistant coaches like Mike Pyle, but I've just been listening to John's voice for so long. I can even hear John when I'm home listening to him coach another fighter. Like when he's coaching Marab, you know, lately we've been listening. I can hear him. I'm like, oh, John said this.
So you have like a special tuning for his voice.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
I always wondered that, because it gets pretty loud, and I would assume you get hit a couple times in the head and everything goes wah, and then to know that you can hear your coach's voice is pretty amazing.
Yeah, I can always hear John.
Looking at the women's division of the UFC now, do you see a huge growth from, because you were there at the beginning, let's say, to where it is now? Do you see the skill level of the women progressing, or do you think it's at kind of like a plateau?
I see such a huge growth in the women's division, in all women. nowadays. Just the skill level is amazing. People are getting better and better. It's really awesome to see.
And it's more accepted now, would you say?
Yes, absolutely. Like, I'm glad that I'm not there now, honestly, because everyone's jacked. They're athletes. I've never really been super strong. That's not my strong suit, so to speak. I'm more of a slick, speedy jiu-jitsu girl. My striking has never been the best. So now all these awesome strikers are piecing people up. So I'm glad that I had my run when I had it.
So you would say that people did accept you and everything while you were in the UFC for the women's division. Mm-hmm. What inspired you to write the books that you wrote, and what truths did you feel needed to be told?
I've always kept a journal for myself. And I thought, man, it would be cool to share my life experiences in a book, just using my journal entries, because I've had a pretty exciting life, I think.
Yeah.
Very unusual, exciting life. So that inspired me to take those and adapt it to a story, to my book. So I self-published 3 books. I've self-published 3 books. 2 of them are autobiographies, different time spans. The first one is covering my year in Japan, my first year when I was an exchange student. And then my second one covers when I moved there to work all the way through my UFC career. And then my last book is a positivity book, a kind of workbook that gives advice on how to think more positively. This was the first book I wrote, Memoirs of a Happy Warrior, and it covers when I first moved to Japan as an exchange student. I fought 3 times, had a lot of interesting experiences in Japan. And then, that was my year in Japan. The second book I wrote was this How to Be Positive, Mental Training by the Happy Warrior. I have 10 pieces of advice, and then I give a story example and then examples that help the reader apply the techniques. So for example, chapter 1, our conscious thoughts affect our emotions. Number 2, a sliver of moonlight you can still see. Chapter 3, be grateful. Chapter 4, focus on the silver lining. Chapter 5, don't reinforce negativity, smile and carry on, etc. And then my third one is actually Memoirs of a Happy Warrior 2. I subtitled it Challenges. And it goes over working in Japan, a lot of experiences I had there, fighting both in Japan and America, and then getting into the UFC, how I moved to Vegas, and then my final fight, my retirement fight, is the last chapter.
How long does it take you to put a book together?
It takes me years.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And what... Have you always been a writer? I mean, you went to college for a number of years and you became a translator and stuff, so you have to have good grammar, I would think, if you're going to translate English to Japanese.
Well, I wanted to be a translator, didn't quite make it professionally. I did translate some interviews, so that was kind of cool. But no, I love writing. I wanted to be a writer as well, but that's hard to make it as an author. Again, that's one of those like creative things that you have to really make it big before you can make money at it. So I self-published these, and I haven't really made a ton of money, but a little bit.
That's quite an accomplishment, though, to write 3 books. It really is.
Thank you.
I have a couple books I want to read, but it's so hard for me to even read them. I listen to audiobooks. So to sit there and put your thoughts together in a cohesive collection of words is really cool. Did writing the books give you a new perspective of yourself?
Not really.
Yeah, you're just...
I just relived the excitement of my experiences.
If someone read just one part of the book or were to pick up one of the books, which one would you recommend? Do you have a favorite?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Probably this one, because
Yeah.
I want everyone to be able to feel more positive in their lives.
And those are actual, so you give...
For example, our conscious thoughts affect our emotions. I give an example of something that happened to me, and then I have the practice. So for example, the first one, write down some positive self-talk sentences for these situations describing how great the outcome will be. What did I just say? So you have to kind of pay attention to your thoughts and make yourself think a certain way. So number 1, you have to make a 10-minute speech in front of a big group of people. Your grade or pay raise might depend on it. So what I hope people would write here is, I'm going to do great. I've made a lot of preparations. I know exactly what I'm talking about. No one's going to intimidate me. I'm not going to notice them anyway. I'm going to be in the zone. Things like that. Like, that's what I want them to write. And if they can't think of anything, I have like a little suggestion thing in the back. But that is what I explained in the previous pages. Like, I need you to think of positive things to tell yourself. Another one is your train or subway. This is number 4. Your train or subway has come to an emergency stop on the way to work. You're not sure why, and the announcement didn't tell you how long before you'll be underway again. You might be late and are starting to feel panicked. So I would like you to say something like, hopefully it's not someone injured. Hopefully it'll be underway soon. Maybe, I'll be early. Like, I don't know, something like that. So that kind of like encourages you to think in certain ways. That's how this book is formulated.
So the books aren't just aimed towards martial artists. It's almost like a handbook for everyone to get better at.
Yeah, this
problems.
one is.
That's great. How did your world change when you had a baby?
It completely changed when I had a baby. I was on call. I am on call 24/7. I really don't have time for myself much anymore. Well, when he was an infant, it was definitely like that. Now I'm trying to do more jiu-jitsu, and I made a couple mom friends who have little kids. So we kind of like let the little kids play with them amongst themselves, and then we can do a little jiu-jitsu. So it's funny, sometimes I drag my mat out into the park and the kids play nearby, and then if they start running, we have to like go get them, bring them back. So I read books to prepare. I'm all about that preparation. So I got my parenting books. I got my psychology information. I talked to my mom. I'm like ready. I got all these books. Nutrition books, child psychology books, parenting books, like sleep books. Ready. I'm doing pretty well, I think. He seems like a pretty happy kid. It's hard.
Oh, yeah. While you're out there doing jiu-jitsu, does your child show any interest in it? Do you think he's going to be a martial artist?
Right now, he's just mad that I'm not paying attention to him. He comes over, Mama. I'm like, it's okay. We're almost done. So maybe, but that'd be cool. I want him to do jiu-jitsu.
Obviously, you have the book. Are you going to pass along lessons that you learned from fighting and martial arts to the child, but are you going to say, hey, read this book to really figure out how you need to approach life?
I don't know. I wonder if he'd be interested in reading his mother's book. But, I'm going to try to raise him with the whole, advice, like let the boys do dangerous things carefully. So I think that's going to be my theme for his childhood.
What's harder, a 5-round title fight or having to take care of a newborn as a mother?
Oh, come on. You can't do that to me. Probably the 5-round title fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The preparation.
Yeah. Like, I can go without sleep, my boobs hurt. That's okay. It's not getting punched in the face. So probably the fight. Yeah. Fighting has been the hardest thing I've done. So getting into the UFC has been the hardest thing I've done. So when I was in the throes of the newborn stage, I told myself that, like, you got to the UFC. What is this day? Your back hurts, your neck hurts. Remember when you were in friggin' ground slam and you had to stop after one round of sparring because your back was so crippled? Like, this is nothing. And I thought, yeah, you're right. This is nothing. It's okay.
Was there a point in your UFC career that you realized, hey, I'm good. What was it? Let me rephrase that. Was there a point in the UFC career where you realized that you had lost the passion or it was time to retire? What made you decide that it was coming?
Remember when I said before that I realized my dad was right about the college thing? It was another my dad was right moment. I started getting rocked in practice. So that means when I get punched in the head, I started feeling like concussion symptoms, like dizzy. I never quite felt nauseous. That would be more severe, but I felt like dizzy and kind of crappy, and I just fell off. So then I realized, like, all right, my dad has been sending me boxing articles and health articles for years because he doesn't like me fighting. And I thought, all right, now that there's some danger of my brain being damaged with head trauma, I gotta call it. Because it wasn't just like one time. It was, if I didn't wear headgear, I would feel bad in sparring. So I started wearing headgear all the time. And then I thought, I'm getting older. I'm like 40. I better call it a career. You know, everyone's just getting stronger. I'm going to start getting weaker. So I want my last fight to be a good one, a strong one. I don't want to be one of those fighters who just keeps getting knocked out 3 times before they retire. I want to have a good, strong last fight. And it was great. So I'm pleased. I'm pleased that I called it when I called it.
What was the last fight? I forget.
Casey O'Neill in 2022. I won that fight.
You
damn
won
it.
that one?
Yeah. No, I didn't win it, but I think I won it. I felt that I won it.
What was the controversy in the fight?
She had more significant strikes than I did.
Explain to me what that means.
Can you please explain as well? Because I would like to know.
Because if you're getting hit and your head moves, like say you get hit the head and your head kind of moves, like, is that significant?
That's why I have a big problem with the significant strike thing, because how does the judge know if it's significant or not? Like my thing is I eat punches and I go forward. Like how could they possibly, that's like not fair for them to judge what's significant or not. I think a significant strike should be, it changes the course of the fight. So I get hit, I like fall down and then I like get back up. Okay, you fell down. That was significant. Not like, boop, oh, that looked like it was powerful. Let's make that a significant strike. Like, no, that was fine. So they shouldn't know. They can't know. So I'm really salty about that.
I can understand that because sometimes there's like 300 significant strikes in a fight on the UFC if you watch the broadcast.
Yeah, they don't.
When maybe there could be like, in reality with what we're talking about, there could be maybe 2 or 3. You get knocked down, get rocked.
I think she hurt me with like 2 or something.
And do kicks count as significant strikes?
I think so.
So she rocked you with a couple. What was the preparation leading up to the fight? Did you know that you were going to retire before, or did you make the decision after the fight?
Yeah, I knew I was going to retire.
Yeah.
You know, I trained really hard.
Just did
Yeah.
what you always did.
Yeah.
There it is. Stay stable. Push up. Let's go. Push back. Good.
What would you say to your Japanese fans? Because
What would I say to my Japanese fans?
yeah. Can you say something in Japanese to them?
Absolutely.
So that, because I from what I understand, you have a big fan base there still.
日本人のファンの皆さんへ長い間応援してくれて本当にありがとうございました。嬉しいです。
Can you translate that?
Yes, for the long years of supporting me, thank you so much for all your cheering and your support.
How can people find you? If they want to buy the books, do you have Instagram? Do you have a website?
If you'd like to find me, I'm on social media. Instagram and Twitter, or X, are both Roxy Fighter. I'm on Facebook. My books are on Amazon. And if you want it signed, you'll have to message me and then send me money and I'll have to send it to you because I'll sign it. So I'd be happy to do that.
Do you do eBay things where you auction off gloves or anything like that also?
Once in a while, I sell some fight-worn stuff. I've pretty much sold most of what I want to get rid of. I kind of want to keep most of what I have now. But once in a while, I'll put something on Instagram because I haven't had much success with eBay.
Roxy, thanks a lot for doing this. It's been great. I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching Untitled Interview. If you liked the conversation you just watched, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested, there's lots more just like that right here.